G'day guys and welcome back. So, the trans umbrella is going to widen. And we're going to widen it. We're going to widen it to include heterosexual people. Oh yeah, I've got a professor coming to explain how it's possible. Meet my mate, Triggerz McKnickers.
Thank you for having me, Suit. America has made many great strides towards gender equality since the Stonewall riots, and the trans community became known as the last major civil rights cause. And although the LGBTQIAAPXON, although this rainbow glittered alphabet soup includes many, many letters, there is still one that remains suspiciously left out: the letter C. Hello, fellow allies. My name is Triggerz McKnickers, a queer studies professor at SJW University. For the sake of our new struggle that this video represents, just think of me as the new Bill Nye, but without all that gangbanging, ice cream, and techno butt stuff. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. We within the LGBT... Sorry, I just can't keep up here. There seems to be a new letter every week. We among the faggy rabble would like to consider ourselves the tolerant and inclusive ones. But there's one demographic that remains to be accepted among us. Not only do we continue to ignore their issues, but they are often treated as the other, with open contempt, and even at times with outright hostility. And if our goal is to recognize every type of non-binary gender under the trans community umbrella, we are failing those who identify as the most misunderstood among us, the trans cisgendered. Oh, I can hear the laughter and outrage already. Professor McKnickers, how can some cis-Het straight guy be one of us? Well, isn't that rich? Someone who lectures others for assigning gender through external signifiers is doing just that. How do you know he's just some straight guy checking out that woman's ass? What if he identifies his sexuality as trans-lesbian? Oh, I know what you're going to say next. But Professor, this so-called trans-lesbian isn't planning on removing his dinger-donger. In fact, he looks more than ready to be using it on that chick with the fine dumper. As if one's gender is determined by their sex. As if a trans person is only trans once they have that operation. As if! How do you know that Captain Erection isn't undergoing pre-op permanence? How can you be so sure that one hasn't already underwent psychic post-op limited transition? Have you asked this person? Are you being pre-judgmental here? Oh, come on, Professor. He's not even trying to be trans. He's not even a little androgynous. Look at his clothes, his haircut, his mannerisms, even his lingo suggesting he's a straight-up dude bro. Oh, here we go. Classic double standards perpetuated by the so-called educated and informed ones. To date, we recognize more genders than Heinz has varieties, and the vast majority of them are only identifiable once the subject informs us. Thus, gender is mostly a lived-in experience, is it not? So if the trans cisgendered chooses not to reveal on the outside what they feel on the inside, that is their right, and who are you to oppress their people? The trans cisgendered also fall under the subcategory of the trans-spirited, or trans-underskin, because they show absolutely no external signs of gender dysphoria. This entitles them to two gender identities. To your one, no matter how snowflakey yours is. So who's the truly marginalized one here? Just be thankful that the dude bro, as you refer to him, isn't a shade darker than ivory. Because if he was, you could also claim that in ancient times, his people would have referred to his gender as half-two-spirited, which would increase his gender identities to 3. And he'd be right at the top of the progressive stack, and you couldn't even question him at this point. Since most of you transgenders are lily white-assed anyways, you wouldn't dare. Now, a naysayer could make the argument that the trans cis-hetero are not legitimately trans because they've been a regular straight-as-an-arrow normie since birth. But so what? Weren't we all nondescript asexual zygotes early on within the womb? Doesn't most gender dysphoria occur during this time as either a hormonal imbalance or a genetic defect? And if some of those zygotes develop into a so-called normie, then that means that cisgenderism is a prenatal transitional phenomenon. Checkmate! And for those of you who think that being gender fluid earns you the most oppression points, think again. Look, I'm not saying that it's easy to live with an identity that changes more frequently than the wind direction, but imagine identifying as the wind itself. The trans cisgendered are actually gendered gassed, because they experience fluid-like transition, but it's completely invisible to the outside observer. And this is why we as the This is why we as the freaky pinkies must welcome the trans cis among our ranks. Because imagine facing a world where no one recognizes your dysphoria, not even yourself. Or something like that. Wait, you're confused? Well, now you know how those normies felt when they tried to comprehend your gender spectrum for the first time. That's it, I'm out. I need a drink.
So, that does it. I'm now trans.
But Cis-Het, you're not.
I'm trans, you fucking Nazi.